Camille banned just yet.
I always think, oh, they want to pick Gnar or something if they ban the Vayne, because we have
Gnar
the
or tanks, probably.
Yeah, Jace and Vayne both out.
Yeah, the Jace feels like a pretty understandable ban just into Zeus, but it's actually, yeah, HLE that do ban it against Vin this time around, as HLE will be on our blue side to start this one off, as the Vi has been a bit of an obligatory ban. We did see it come through the last time these two teams met, and even though HLE didn't quite find the victory, the Vi was a problem.
So Camille is still up and available. We'll see if they do want to ban it out. Has been getting banned quite a lot. It would open up, for that possibility of the Camille bot lane. If it does, in fact, not get banned here. And they're taking a lot of time, HLE, trying to decide what they want to take out.
Okay.
And they had the same read you did, Kobe, of, the Vayne ban is indicating that they are going to be trying to go for a Gnar. So instead, they leave up Camille. They do take away that Gnar.
Have you guys been fans of the Cassiopeia and trying to combo it with, other AOE stuff like Jarvan, where you Cataclysm and Miasma in there? Or have you been worried about mid laners that don't have their own safety of dashes and stuff?
I personally really like it, but I do think it's also based on how safe the other team is, right? If they have low mobility carries and you throw in a Jarvan and then Miasma comes over the top, then it's usually just lights out, right?
Yeah.
So I think I don't love it just as like slamming it down, but I do really think it is quite powerful based on what your opponents have.
I love picking it away from Viper so he doesn't pull those shenanigans again. And so maybe Zeka could consider it for that reason, but picking it into a Jarvan doesn't feel fantastic. I think that Camille's got to be at the forefront of HLE's minds right now.
But what I was going to say is that Viper brought out the Taliyah as the answer, and I've been loving the bot lanes that attack the Camille and not the Camille pairing, right?
Yeah.
And so if you do go Camille, you can go things like Taliyah Leona that we have seen before and really just attack that Camille. Anytime she hookshots Unraveled Earth, you get stunned up by the Leona. Leona much more tanky than the Camille, and you can just kind of focus on making Delight's life really, really difficult. And so that's kind of what I'm expecting again, because Viper was fantastic on the Taliyah when he brought it out last time, and I just felt like Delight never really got to play.
My favorite thing to do then, if you're the Camille support, we leave bottom lane. If they pick the Taliyah and they put Taliyah in bottom lane, all right, I'm out. I'm going to go play with Kanavi. So that's what I will expect, depending on what Kanavi's champion is. I'm pretty sure we'll see it imminently here. But if you get Kanavi good pairing with the Camille, that is the way to take over games right now, is jungle support. And that's that Cassiopeia with Jarvan Cataclysm I was talking about. Yep. It is a really good combo.
And it could be bot or mid, right? That's the thing, because this is another champion that is fantastic into the Camille. Shen support also very good into the Camille. I love these drafts that are attacking the Camille. Exactly. Taunt, and then also, Miasma comes down, and you have the parry zone during Hail of Blades, and also the empowered Q that comes out from Camille. Shen can answer so much of what you can do, and like you said, people's answer is then going to be, all right, well, I'm just going to roam. Well, guess what? Shen has Stand United. Shen can match that pressure on the map, so I feel like when the tournament started, I was thinking Camille is insanely OP, but as the tournament has evolved and people have drafted better and better answers, I'm less on the side of the Camille.
There's also so much flexibility from BLG. So we're looking at this, the Cassiopeia Shen could just be a bottom lane. It could also be mid lane, top lane. There could be a jungle for Shun there as well, although the Jarvan support hasn't come out for a while. I just think that having that level of flexibility in draft really does make things so difficult for your opposition.
Speaking of difficult, and I was talking about pairings of jungle with a support. The Qiyana, I always like it into Jarvan. You have so much mobility and you have so much burst damage to play into it. Qiyana and Camille, that is a recipe for death. They will delete someone instantly. So we'll see. You have to be very quick with your Stand United to protect that person if they do find them. But adding the Camille onto the roams early with the Qiyana, I do like the game plan again from HLE. And so we'll have to look at, what are they going to be able to get for their mid lane? They are currently respecting the super flexibility of mages that does exist as well for Viper and Ignite, and so also banning the Syndra again this time around. Last time it was banned in the first 3, but they're still going to answer it here.
And the other thing is, if they are going to go Cassio bot, then BLG needs to get AD somewhere, right? And Jace is banned, Gnar is banned, Renekton was played, Ambessa was played, Vayne is banned. A lot of the meta AD tops are already out. There are always angles to go like Yone and things along those lines. You can get AD elsewhere, but it is getting a lot harder as we go further into the draft to find AD pairings elsewhere.
Yeah, the Tristana really is an option, I guess.
Well, Lissandra banned out, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they feel like that Cassiopeia should be going towards the bottom side of the map. There's one more ban here from Daney as the mid lane is getting very thin.
Yeah, that being said, you know, if you're going to spend all these mid lane bans for HLE, Knight could just play the Cassio mid, and that's not really a problem, and you could just play an AD carry. But, of course, you know, that Cassio-Shen combo really built to make the Camille's life very difficult, so could be a little bit tougher in that 1v1 on the boss side, but clearly a lot of playmaking potential here for HLE. If the Ahri gets locked in, you have Ahri, Camille, you have the Qiyana, you have so much mobility, and you have that follow-up from the Ziggs, throwing that Mega Inferno Bomb into the backline. Guma was devastating on this pick against Lion yesterday, was just killing it, got very far ahead, and his ults were doing 50, 60, 70% of people's health. Yeah,
the HLE plan here, again, lots of playmaking to put pressure on low mobility champions, so the Cassiopeia may be under attack fairly early on. Definitely expect the early support roams there at level 3 from bottom lane. Jarvan with Rumble, the classic combination there, and so they're just going to pick that up for Bin.
Oh, that'd be an interesting one, as they are considering some AD carry options for Viper. Try and get some of that AD damage like you were talking about. As soon as the Rumble was hovered,
yeah, you know.
Yeah, it's got to be something to do some AD.
There's your Tristana, Atlus.
Yeah, well, there's that one. That means that things could get weird, but I don't know whether we're playing Rumble Shen in the bottom lane. That would be strange. So there is a Lucian to be locked in, so Lucian Shen down there on the bottom side.
Yeah, and I think they were kind of forced into it by the fact that there were so many of these AD top laners are already banned out. You don't really have as many good options up there for Bin, so it is going to be Lucian, Shen, and Yorick as the answer. Fantastic into that Rumble. Allows you to play towards side lanes where you have great ability to roam as the Light, as Zeka and Kanavi to move around the map and try to play through those sides, because there's not necessarily a great 1v1 answer to the Yorick split push if he gets accelerated.
And speaking of accelerated, I think if this game is going to move in HLE's direction, I'm going to request that team fights are actually slowed down to half speed. Because I have a feeling they're going to be over extraordinarily quickly. There is so much burst damage out of this squad, and if they don't manage to kill their opposition, they basically die immediately, which could be a little bit of a frightening prospect here. Bit of an all-or-nothing draft coming out for HLE.
And honestly, I really am going to have such a huge magnifying glass on these supports. I feel like this game is going to be similar to the first game of the series that we saw in the upper bracket finals. Whichever support does have the bigger effect early on the map is just going to fully accelerate their team and boost them to success.
It's going to be interesting, you know, and it's also one of these things where HLE, when you draft for these types of compositions that are so good with that one punch, just deleting someone, Camille ult, Qiyana ult, Ziggs ult, everything thrown to the backline, they really do excel around a couple items. But when you get to later and later stages and the luxury items start coming through and all of a sudden there's Azonia's on Cassio, there's Azonia's on Rumble, there's, you know, a GA on Lucian, there's all of these additional tools, it can become really, really difficult to actually find that correct target and still be able to win out on the fight. So BLG will be looking for that.
Hearing the fans, there is not an empty seat here in the Daejeon Convention Center as the Haitings and the Gyos go at it once again. HLE seeing whether they can get to match point. BLG wanting to settle in and stretch this series to be only a best of 3 from here. Could be their opportunity to do so, as Knight is now moving over. Zeka dealing with some of that bone plating. Does have the Foxfire there, so evens out the trade.
Yeah, nice use of his Deathfire touch and his bone plating there to go in, get the extra tick damage onto Zeka. But another Foxfire trade, as you say, and we're going to have opposite starts for the jungles again. So going to be very interesting because the Yorick into Rumble matchup, if they do have Kanavi applying extra pressure up there and get Zeus into a very good spot for his split pushing later on, then that could be another avenue to try and pull them across the map. You want to open up the map here, and then it gives you all these chances for Camille to just jump out of Fog of War and have Ahri and Qiyana burst damage and get those picks that you're looking for on HLE.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree, and it's just such a good matchup. Yorick into Rumble really does favor the Yorick in the 1v1 pretty heavily. Then you have all these great enablers, people who can attack, and you have Ziggs who can hold.
A 3-camp gank again, topside, and this time it's Shen going to disrupt the top matchup.
Yeah, Bin was taking a fair bit of damage, but Zeus now gets the bad news that there is a Jarvan up here. The flash to try and get him out, but he still gets tagged by the knock-up. He's going to need a big old army of ghouls to make this happen, and he finds it! First blood goes to Zeus! Shen will be able to get the revenge, but that is not what BLG wanted.
That is not what they wanted at all, but imagine if he actually flashed through that flag and drag. He could have had the 1v2, I think.
I mean, all the minion damage. Look how many minions there are. Zeus has the massive minion wave here. And so, yes, he does try and go over the EQ here and gets it with the knockup, but still is able to turn it. All the minion damage and those ghouls onto Bin.
Yeah, and Bin was not able to flash the Morning Mist. He flashed after he was hit by that E, and once that hit tags you, all the ghouls are going on you. He had a bunch summoned up, all of the minion damage you talked about as well, Kobe. You know, not a good flash from either top laner, but Zeus fighting in those minions gets first blood in the 1v2.
And the bonus money from a first blood here makes it super not worth for them.
This is the hunt for the Grand Slam we were talking about last game. These three players are that one.
Oh, flash it from Zeka gets the charm, and they execute Knight.
I love the acting there, too, as Kanavi is like, just passing through here, you know, don't mind me, jungle on the way to the Scuttle Crab.
Remember when I used to do this when we were hanging out? Yeah, it's fine. Well, there's a taunt flash from On. They do manage to get the knock-up onto Kanavi as the favor is returned as a teleport comes in from Knight, makes his way back.
It's so fun to watch. Punch right back here. Another flash invested. On is able to sit him down. So during the celebration, immediately get the counter kill onto Kanavi, which results in counter jungling on top of it. And does mean that Shen himself is going to have a big advantage. 2 kills plus the extra little steal away here on Raptors, and he should be able to secure his. And you see, walking back out onto the Rift now, Kanavi, his jungle is very light on camp, so has to get this Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's just such a good punish from On. You see this brilliant play from HLE, but double flash were committed, and they instantly punish it here. And On now hanging around, knowing there could be a possibility of a dive. 3 members from both teams moving up.
Yeah, On doesn't quite know, does now find out that Delight is in the area. Kanavi spotted moving towards that top side. There's the flag and drag and the taunt as Delight keeps himself alive for now. Hookshot comes out. Delight doesn't quite find the angle as now On just looking for his target. The Morning Mist will connect once again as Bin has eyes only for Zeus. He's looking to lock him down. He silences himself. The drill goes in and they lock up the kill. Kanavi's dead at the same time, but now it's Delight and Zeka trying to get this fight to work as Delight has to flash to get himself out of the way as Knight turns up.
Yeah, Ben says, you're not getting out of this one. I don't care if you have Zeka roaming up first. He forces the play. They get the extra kill on BLG, and they push them off the tower.
Exactly. They get those extra rewards because not only do they get the kills, they deny the wave. The wave is going to push away from the Yorick. They get a plate. They push them out of their own jungle here, and that is fantastic for BLG.
Just a slight advantage on money, but let's have a look at this again.
And again, you're going to see the cancel on recall here on the minimap. So AHri's going to be the first one to roam up. So they make the call here for HLE. They're like, yeah, we're going to scrap it out, even though BLG got the early damage on us.
But then Bin has this overheat, just goes in onto Zeus. Kanavi clearly trying to help him out, but Kanavi's getting focused down by On and Shen. And I thought for a second with the scrap shield that Zeka might not even be able to finish off Bin. And when Knight arrives, another flash has to be forced. They push it in, they deny it. And that man is locked in.
Yeah, he is.
He does that, you know you're in trouble. When Bin starts vibrating.
Oh, On, speaking of which, is just going to be backing away. Hextech sweep just to try and soften him up there as man. Speaking of armies, there are a lot of things here in this top lane as Zeka is going to show up as well. They're looking for the rumble and they will be able to grab the kill. Zeus walks it off at the same time, but the rest of BLG looking to turn up. Zeus going to have to employ his maiden to try and help out his teammates as he is going home looking a little worse for wear.
Atlus, if you lose round 1 of the top lane fight, you just enact round 2. They go right back there. They started themselves again, first of the play this time, and HLE do get the kill unanswered.
And it was so costly because Bin wasn't able to actually fight that wave, thin it out at all. He couldn't get 6, right? So the earlier 6 there from Zeus, he has the push. Bin had to wait at his tower. The fact that you get dove with a fat wave at your tower, he's 27 CS at 6.5 minutes.
Oh man, yeah, and all of those minions got wiped out, so there's no way that he can really get himself back. It's not like, oh, well, I'll pick up this fat wave that's coming up. No, well, that's all you're really getting, as we see right here, as Zeka sidesteps the flag and drag. Nicely done, doesn't quite find the charm there, but Getting himself out of danger is the most important thing. And the amount that HLE have done prior to Stand United, prior to the equalizer, and these ways to manipulate side lanes and create advantages for yourself has been very important, because it's from now on that things get more difficult when that level 6 comes in from on and when Bin is able to just wipe out waves with the equalizer.
And it's just funny to see how much of a battleground top lane has become. It is bot lane that is the island this game. They're just peacefully farming, chilling out down there, because both teams know how critical this top lane matchup is. If Zeus gets ahead, it's so problematic for Bin.
Oh, Gumayusi just going to push Viper back and gets himself over the wall. That is going to be first rate going over to BLG, though.
Plus, we've had this discussion, too, and I really like talking about the reason why we have so much support roaming now. And we saw it again.
Helen gets the flash. Gumayusi struggling a little bit here in this 1v1.
You get it super early on, of course, you know, because the mages can be self-sufficient on the bottom lane. But also, I feel like the support role quest is the fakest of quests. Literally at 3 minutes, it turns off the minus 25% golden experience from minions in other lanes. And so at level 3, you're like, great, I've got my ticket, let's go on the map, you know, let's go top lane, let's make these plays. And then it's also the role that is best suited to abuse comeback experience. You know, look, Delight and On are level 4 right now, but as soon as the average levels of the minions of your opponents hit level 6, you start getting big comeback experience since you're the lowest level and so far behind.
Well, now looking for some angles here as the Supreme Display of Talent finds nothing at all. On is going to get that follow-up as Knight, petrifying gaze! But it's not quite doing enough here as Zeka just gets himself out with that Spirit Rush. Shun getting a nice knock up there as Zeus running out of buttons, and Bin turns up! That Flame Spitter is hitting everything, but he goes down! Knight finds a Twin Fang to answer it, but it's rumble for Camille so far. Shun looking a little worse for wear, and Gumayusi is now here to throw these bouncing bombs forward. The grubs should be taken here as On is the one that actually finishes off that second one.
It's huge for BLG. I mean, they've got an unanswered Lucian on bottom side, still pushing. Viper got another minion wave there and almost was able to get the second turret plate.
Yeah, exactly. Being able to just soak up that golden experience on that bottom side is going to be able to base here. BLG had so many members of HLE low, but not the damage to finish them off. It didn't feel like the damage was coming in at the same time, largely because Lucian is bot. This Petrifying Gaze looked like it was going to be so impactful, get a multi-man stun, but Bin is very weak, Viper is not there, and they just didn't really have anything behind it.
Yeah, they don't get their Qiyana, you know, ult to land there, so goes down immediately afterwards, but then fighting right back out here, and BLG, Shun with the EQ back inside.
And I gotta say, Bin's equalizer basically did nothing. He used it after the Petrifying Gaze ended and put it in between everyone there. So if he had the equalizer then flashed in, I think he could get 2-3 kills potentially. If he had been a little bit closer to the fight, obviously he had to move down from top lane and could have had that equalizer during the Petrifying Gaze. Also could have been a couple more kills, but just not there. Right place, right time.
Could have even got it in that corridor as they were trying to escape as well. And I was expecting Bin to just kind of kill everyone in that moment. Wasn't quite able to do so. It was just Delight that did fall down. But 3 deaths for Kanavi. It's not the same game as we saw in the last one. He's going to have to try and get himself back out onto a good position on this rift. Maybe this is an opportunity to do so as he blast cones over looking for Shen, who's 3-0-3, 100% kill contribution, and has been everywhere here in this game. This is a really impressive bounce back here for the BLG jungler. Just shows that that first game didn't really tell the whole story.
And while Shun is, you know, 3-0-3, you look over on the other side, it's 0-3-2 in jungler. They have basically the same XP and the same gold. So Bin in trouble again.
Yeah, put into that goalie wall as the equalizer goes down and Kanavi does not care. Zeus tanks up the turret just enough once again as Shun looks to get in there. The Cataclysm goes down and does shut down Zeus once again.
How many times have we seen you dying for a turret plate money? There you go. Shun's able to get in range for the dunk. Wait a second. Another culling comes out. Viper trying to keep that pressure on the bottom side.
Yeah, Zeka looking for an angle towards On here, or is maybe On looking for an angle towards him as the charm goes wide. Nicely played by this Shen, actually, as the aftershock does get proc. Nice stun coming out from Kanavi defensively. As we look here towards this bottom side, things still remaining difficult for Gumayusi. Does not quite have his first item completed just yet. Shun getting himself out of the way. And BLG might actually get some free time with this outer turret in mid lane. Look at all that crystalline overgrowth that has already built up.
Yeah, Knight going to get a little bit of gold there, but Now the item completion looking pretty grim for Bin up in the top lane. He rushed the steel caps. Triforce is now done for Yorick, and this is such a huge spike for this champion in the 1v1. It's already been very, very difficult for Bin. At the very least, the Maiden's on cooldown for a while because he did die, so that's a little relief of pressure. Yeah,
I mean, when you're looking at what is still going well for HLE, it is the solo lanes. It is Zeus and it is also Zeka, because Zeka, with the early Dark Seal and now completing Malignance here on AHri, that could be the hope for them, is these solo lanes. Because BLG, they've got their gold lead, they have their first dragon, and it feels quite strong for them, but we'll see what Zeus and Zeka have to say about it this time around.
And Kanavi's gone for an interesting build to start this one off as well. Not too perturbed for about the 0-3 start that he did have.
No, not at all. I mean, you are going this item, it's kind of the same thing as Viper. It's almost like they're expecting it to be, you know, a really aggressive game. The Gluttonous Greaves coming through for Viper, but they've just been peacefully farming in the bot lane. This item is very good if you can get all the stacks, but in pro games, in my experience, almost always when the pivotal fight happens, they have like no stacks. And I just feel like in those cases, it's not very valuable, whereas there's tons of offensive pressure. He might need something like steel caps to survive.
Well, second Drake now being taken here by BLG. Is Delight looking for a bit of an angle. Miasma now on cooldown here as Knight gets back to his teammates. They look for Kanavi. Supreme display of talent onto Shen. Mega Inferno Bomb finds absolutely nothing, and Shen locks down that second dragon. It's an Ocean Soul this game. BLG still thinking about trying to find an angle here as HLE pretty healthy as they look to try and respond. But Gumayusi moving on over. Should be able to get some damage on this turret at least.
So it's interesting. They're going to trade mid-prow for bot-prow. Viper's like, fine, I will just go push bottom lane down here and over the wall.
Petrifying Gaze is going to connect onto the Camille. The charm lands onto Onno. He'll be going down first as now Shun's in trouble. Kanavi trying to find that stun, but doesn't quite get there. Don't, I believe, had the water picked up as now Zeus, Morning Mist. He seemed to be magnetized to Bin so far in this lane.
Absolutely has. I mean, it's just that 1-for-1 at the end of the day. Knight definitely hoping to get more members, and ends up being that trade. The Protoplasm Rush, Zeka run away, he should be okay. The Protoplasm Rush there is now complete for On, which obviously is a very effective item, but against these kind of teams, I always really think you should be going Locket.
Oh, Kanavi gonna have to flash to get out of the way of Bin and Shen. Does quite find the stun, but it's not quite going to work as they're stand united from On as he joins the party. Flash out of the way of the taunt there from Zeus. And has to use that and loses his jungler. A fourth death here for Kanavi.
Yeah, Kanavi down. You're talking about, well, he can definitely get punished, and very, very squishy. Does have to burn the flash and still dies. Is very devastating for their playmaking ability, and they invest a lot of people on top side to do it though. BLG, you know, sending multiple people up onto the top side, and there's actually no response though. So it's very nicely done because Knight can just soak up the minion wave in the bottom lane. BLG for that play, they don't lose anything.
And Knight getting gold is just so problematic. This champion Cassio can get so damn tanky when you get a lot of early items, you get accelerated, the early Roa can build defensive items very, very easily, and Shen got to be a bit careful.
Yeah, there's the flash in, and Shun's put inside the Hextech ultimatum. Supreme display of talent comes down there as well, but Gumayusi, the first one to die. On might be picked up as well, but even his able to get so far away from this fight. Knight gets in there, and now the grounding's on Kanavi. He tries to escape, bounces over the wall, but it does not matter. HLE running for the hills as Zeus trying to turn it towards Viper here. The dash over the wall, he's into the ghoulie wall as well as Shelly gets involved, but Viper will survive this one, and now Knight making his way over, and a teleport out from this Lucian to make sure that he's all right. Zeus lasting a long time, but I believe he's dead as well as Viper gets in there and helps Bin take the kill.
Yeah, Viper, I think, was just going for a little bit of a TP flank there as HLE committed in, but Viper had such a good angle, still leading Guma, but Guma's back.
Okay, just blows him up. Petrifying Gaze is going to connect, gets a stun onto Delight as now the poison's ticking down. And Knight having to avoid that bouncing bomb. Gumayusi finds a third.
The teleport right back to mid lane, and then against the wall, you can't dodge that. Guma blows him up. Does have to flash away though, because Knight was waiting in the brush on the control ward as well, and the action just continues here.
I mean, Guma quietly now is 1.6k up. This guy is getting so fed. He's done his Shadow Flame, his Ludens, and just kind of sitting on that tier as Ziggs players love to do. He's going to be pumping out so much damage. He's been going for these fully offensive builds. I'm assuming he's going to be going straight in towards the death cap once again. And that is so frightening. We can see this fight. The initial engage from HLE looks pretty good, but look at Viper on the side. This culling just destroyed Guma. He basically soloed Guma down, knocks him out of the air.
Yeah, Guma down, so they get the shutdown there. Traded for the Jarvan, but I mean, the Shen is honestly fairly tanky there with the Protoplasm, and so BLG are able to run them down with the Cassio DPS, just continual uptime, and now we're right back at the scene of the crime.
Yeah, you got the Hextech Minefield down here from Gumayusi just to try and make sure it's as difficult as possible to get in. You can see it's pretty difficult. These bouncing bombs hitting 2 people every single time. And BLG have had enough. They're getting out of here. Shelly is theirs.
I mean, that's just one by Guma. Guma hits 3 bombs in a row on. On goes down to 20-30%. He's just got to leave.
Yeah, the poke damage, I mean, the extra range and the poke damage here is what's going to be very dangerous. If they can't get like a good Lucian culling or something from the side of BLG, and Guma's able to get a couple of those to land, that is going to be free objectives. And so push on the top side here from Zeus. He wants to get in for the turret plating again.
We'll see whether On actually decides to go for anything, but you can see in our Coinbase gold grind, Gumayusi incredibly far ahead of Viper here, who was actually doing a lot of work in the laning phase. It's just a couple of these fights that have gone the Ziggs' way.
And I just worry with On not going for, this more supportive itemization, not going Locket, champions like Viper, like Knight. There's so much AoE coming through, from Kanavi, from Guma, and I feel like you need every tool possible to keep Viper alive if he's the one getting dove on.
Yeah, Guma literally told Kajal, I hate mage's bottom, but Ziggs is the mage that he smashes with, and we'll see how much of an effect this damage is going to have, because Dragon started up and they're pulling him over.
It's catch-22. He hates mages, but he loves winning.
Yeah, and he also, the AD carries that he's best at are kind of like mages as well, like Jhin and Varus, right? You're mainly doing skill shots and all that business. So I think it's somewhat strange that he's so good at it, even if he may not necessarily like it, is okay. Zeka getting culled momentarily, down to almost 50% here, as this would be sole point for BLG if they're able to get this Dragon. Minefield does go down. It's in an annoying position, but BLG haven't taken damage just yet. And yeah, Shelly is just getting some work done here in this mid lane. And the poke damage onto Shun is starting to add up. It's going to be the Dragon secured by BLG, but they cannot keep Shun alive, and now the rest of BLG are running for the hills. Zeus just flashes on top of Knight, puts him into the goalie wall, and the Noxious Blasts are coming down, but Zeus looks to be ignoring it completely. The taunt does come down as finally some damage is coming in. Bin gets in there with the flash, but the Q comes down from Zeus to keep him alive. They take out this Rumble yet again as Kanavi overextends a little, and now On taking a fair bit of damage, the bouncing bombs, and now the ghouls to chase him down. And not going to be enough to take down the Shen here, as the bouncing bomb will be avoided.
It's a bloodbath, and in the end, HLE are able to chase them down afterwards. BLG got to Dragon Soul point, but at what cost?
Yeah, it cost them a lot here as they do focus this down. I mean, they were going for this mid lane play with the Herald. They got multiple charges. Shun goes in, but didn't have his flag and drag to get back out. And then Zeus knows he has the TP shield. He just full sends it, creates space for his team to be able to move forward constantly throughout these bombs.
Yeah, I mean, it's good coordination from BLG to get Knight out of the cage very quickly. Then Bin actually full sending in here and can't finish off Zeus.
And Bin TP'd in the middle of that. I think an accidental press, and maybe he was trying to go for the TP shield, but it looked rough.
But then Kanavi also tries to go in and is not able to land his Q, so he doesn't get the damage, and he goes down too. So players on both teams feeling the bloodlust and trying to chase for those kills, and in the end, it's the safe people like Guma with the bombs that do the most damage.
Exactly, everyone's just fighting like crazy people, and Guma's just sitting there just lobbing over and over again, getting all this damage down. Yeah, he's right here. All right, Delight now moving in towards this mid lane, and I feel like this game, it's just all about Zeus and Gumayusi and what they can do. Zeus just a brick wall in this front line, flashing on top of people, and there just doesn't seem to be enough of an answer when this Yorick gets this far ahead. And he did this in the LCK. He's one of these players that makes the Yorick look completely broken if he gets any sort of lead like this.
Yeah, when he is teleported in, he has created a lot of space for them and presence here with the Yorick, but they actually didn't even finish the recall from Zeka.
Oh, Shun gonna have to flash. The flag and drag was interrupted as Zeka looking for an angle, doesn't find it.
Not going to be able to find too much there. And HLE in control, they do have this 3K lead, and they have a super fed Ziggs who almost has a death cap, but BLG are on Soul Point, and Ocean Soul, some people love it, some people hate it, but it is still a lot of value here, especially against the poke that's going to be coming out from Guma. And we can see Viper now on 4 stacks of the Gut and the Screeds. If you get an Ocean Soul too, maybe you can start to shrug off more of this poke. And so that is kind of the goal here for BLG, is just continue playing for the Dragons, playing for the Soul. And it's going to be up to HLE to try to deny it, because last time they were trying to do kind of both, right? They had the double charge with the Herald. Zeus was farming plates mid. They weren't really set up early enough to contest the Dragon itself. They were playing for the towers and the fight after.
All right, now Delight just getting a little bit of homework done, getting some vision around that Baron pit that has now spawned. It's been up for a couple of minutes time here as On taking a lot of damage. The Shen, you're talking like Protoplasm Harness is really good for like efficient stats, but he's still a support, so he's not as tanky as Shen's can be. And that poke damage coming on through from this AHri as he looks for a bit of an angle from the Fog of War is pretty scary.
Yeah, all the lethality.
Oh dear, the charming Zeka is going to land onto Knight here. He does find the Petrifying Gaze though, as Kanavi is taken out once again, and both of them just fall down. On, I mean, he might be a bit squishy, but he's got an R button.
Beautiful stand united. It makes the difference, Atlus. They don't have enough damage to get through it to kill Knight. Knight survives, he flashes, and he returns the favor with damage.
Very fast stand united, and the heal coming through, and Knight is building quite a bit of HP, has the upgraded Merc Treads. He is not easy to knock down. BLG were thinking about it, going towards Baron, and then you realize, all right, well, Guma is still alive. This is going to be very difficult to do it in his face.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of see their thinking, though, for HLE. They're like, all right, both of us, perfect position here to get the jump with a Qiyana and an AHri onto him, but the save comes in for BLG.
Right now it's HLE starting this up, and Yorick can actually do Baron quite quickly because of the additional minions. They are going to have to pull off, though. Guma now completes his death cap, and I will say, it does get a little concerning if in a pretty ideal situation like that, you still can't kill Knight, because Knight is going to keep building more defensively. In comes the Seekers now, which is just going to make things that much more difficult, and On now finally has his locket.
One thing is, though, also, you know, kills are one thing and getting the gold. If you don't have to flash on Cassiopeia and it actually is punished now,
True.
then maybe you still call worth, right? If you actually can kill Knight this time around in the team fight and deny a Dragon Soul.
Oh, On taking a bit of damage here. Stand United, we are still waiting a little while for it as he's down to 50%. Fish in a barrel.
Check Guma's PC. He's scripting for sure.
Yeah, he is.
I don't think I've seen this guy miss a Q in 20 minutes.
Apart from that last one. It did go a little bit wide.
I closed my eyes for that one, buddy.
Yeah, that one hit the dragon. That one hit the dragon. That was just fine. As the rest of HLE not starting the fight just yet. The poke damage needs to rein in first before they do commit to anything. There's Viper in the back of the pit, not exactly where he wants to be. As the Supreme Display of Talent goes over, Zeka finds the charm onto Viper and will be able to take him down. But now the Soul still on the table. Mega Inferno Bomb comes in, and it is going to be Kanavi falling down. The Soul is picked up as On. Let's see whether he can find it. The taunt connects onto Zeka, but he will go down. Gumayusi still at full health. Here as Knight is trying to get out of there. Shen as well, down very, very low, finds a knock-up onto the Camille, but he does go into the sky, finds his way out, utilizing the ultimate. Bin is going to die, though, as Gumayusi just needs another short fuse, but the flash gets out, the blast cone's there as well, and Bin is going to survive. BLG, the heist is successful.
Yeah, Zeka's hunting for him, but it looks like he is going to get out. They got the dragon. I loved how Kanavi played in this moment. He's so calm in these really panicky situations. You know, Kanavi was trying to get in there, but Shen is back, and he's going for Zeus.
All right, do you, yeah, they definitely need more than 2 people. The teleport is going to bring Gumayusi over here at the same time as these ghouls onto Shen, almost taking him down. Now Knight in that ghoulie wall, but goes golden, utilizing that arm guard that he did have. Another mine would have been enough to take down Knight there, but he's able to get himself out. And that is just the Yorick falling down.
Oh, the healing, the value of his arm guard there too. Knight able to slither away from it in the end. And while HLE, they take the fight to Viper and they jump over the back of the wall and they kill the Lucian, that gives the opening there, and BLG do get that Ocean Drake, and now with all of this healing, it is going to help so much. So look at them all jumping over the back of the pit to go for Viper, but then look at the focus on Dragon.
Exactly, they commit to that. I like that decisiveness, but then On and Shen turning here onto Kanavi and the Miasma. He is grounded. He can't get out of there at all. So they have full eyes on the objective. HLE started the fight off well. They killed it off that carry, but it is Soul going to BLG. And even though HLE are picking up some kills, BLG are able to kite out. Enough of them survive. They keep that Soul, and they're going to be feeling so good about that fight.
Yeah, incredible work in the priceless moment of the game here for BLG. They lock themselves down the soul, and now Elder is going to be spawning so incredibly quickly in this game, as it was only about at minute 25 that we got our fourth and final elemental Drake. And so we could have some very interesting fights.
Look at Guma's damage. He did as much as BLG combined on the Ziggs. 8K in one fight. That is one fight. That is insane. But Knight just completed his Zhonya's now. So he used the Seekers, immediately has enough gold to get the Zhonya's, which is such a big purchase. And that flash you talked about earlier, Kobe, it's almost back up as well.
Important item, though. Oblivion Orb is done for the Ziggs as well, and he's the one that's been landing everything. And he's going to need to keep doing so if they want to fight against this Ocean Soul.
And Atlus, if you can 100-0 someone, then the Ocean Soul, yeah, it's not going to have a lot of time to take over, so yeah. I do like that angle you're talking about. The thing is, with the Stand United too, maybe that buys enough time for them, so it really is kind of close there.
Yeah, I mean, now they have the Stand United, they have the heal on, they have the Locket. Viper went Cleaver for a little bit of HP, they have Zhonya's done on Knight. You can see the Shred has been purchased up for Bin with the double AP Soul Lanes. He's going to be going Zhonya's next, and things are going to get more difficult, so HLE trying to see if there's an angle on this Baron, but BLG are aware of it. Knight's TPing, and they're going to contest.
All right, they get another control ward over that wall. As Gumayusi has to flash. The flag and drag comes in from Shun. They're not out of the woods just yet, as the Ghoulie wall actually is set up to make sure that they're unable to get into the river.
There's a trade of flashes there. Jarvan did go for that EQ flash, but Guma flashed early.
Yeah, no flash on the Ziggs. Maybe that is the hope here for BLG.
It's not a massive gold advantage, though, for HLE. And as you guys were talking about, this is about BLG building up the tools to make the late game incredibly difficult for Hanwha Life eSports. And maybe in 2 minutes' time, that will have enough of them to make sure that this Elder goes their way.
So much is going to depend on if the pick is successful. You know, if this big burst damage comp from HLE is going to be able to successfully execute their kill. You know, Shen here with his Guardian Angel feels very secure. So secure, in fact, that they are going to start up this Baron with their vision control. And they've got the Scuttle Crab to pop here, too, to make sure they have full coverage.
And with Ocean Soul, so they're going to stay high on HP, but they're looking to turn on this TP, maybe.
Yeah, teleport comes in from Zeus as well to join this fight, as Shun is over the other side of it. The Maiden getting involved as well as Bin gets into the fog of war. You've got Viper. Oh, Zeka finds an angle here towards his top side of Shun, waiting in that brush. And Delight wanting to get on top of him. Shun down to 50%, looking to try and turn it. As Gumayushi's in trouble, springs play talent. He at least gets the ulti off, but he's going to go down. Viper finds the angle onto his former support, and Zeus trying to deal with 4 people here in this top lane as On is marking the rest of the targets. It's a double for Viper, and BLG have found their moment. They found the team fight, and now they can grab a Baron.
Shun traded flashes with Guma earlier, and then it's on the taunt flash onto the Ziggs. Knight there to follow it up. They take him out, and in these extended fights, Ocean Soul so powerful. They are still incredibly healthy. Right back to the Baron. That is going to be theirs, and they're going to have this Baron during the Elder spawn to try to take full control over this.
Guma's got to go into overtime now, trying to clear all these minion waves into a Baron-empowered minion. So here's a look at it. With the Shen Stand United, as you say, on the bottom side, boom, they instantly kill off the Ziggs. So much of the damage of HLE is lost, and the team fight is instantly lost.
And I just love the communication there. You know, Shun using the Cataclysm to close the gap.
Oh dear, he's grounded. He is very, very dead. Shun going to be the one to lock down that kill. And Kanavi, his 9th death of the game. A little bit of a difference from what we saw in game number 1 here, as this one has not been his favorite.
And that is Elder gone now. You have no jungler unless there's heroics to be played by Guma, maybe some sort of a try at an alt steal or something, but this is Ocean Soul. This is now a gold lead for BLG. The gold lead completely gone, and it is Elder. We'll see if Guma can maybe make some magic happen, but doesn't feel like he's even in range.
I mean, this is Exodia. They've got absolutely everything right now. As the teleport to bring Zeka over there, but he is just going to watch as this Elder is going to die.
Go for Cassio.
Yep, looking for a bit of an angle here as Gumayusi underneath this turret. Knight is just fine, though, as Viper looking for a flank. No Charm comes in. He knows that that's his angle, his opportunity to get on forward. The Cataclysm goes down. The Dragon's Wrath will be wrought all over HLE. And that is 2 kills, a double for Viper, and they will just proceed with these minions towards this bottom lane and destroy the base.
BLG strike back in game number 2. They're inside the base, and I don't think there's a lot that HLE can do to stop them.
These empowered minions, there is no Gumayusi to get through them. And yes, Zeus had a decent start to this game, but I don't think you can do anything. There is Elder, there is Baron. His Maiden is going to be taken down here as well as BLG with this army of siege minions from this bottom lane. They are playing it pretty slowly here as Knight looking for some of these noxious blasts as the equalizer will finally be thrown down. There's Zeus being eaten by a dragon. Kanavi with the world's smallest supreme display of talent. And Bin is just going to burn him to the ground. Delight taken out. And Zeka the last man standing, but not standing for long as Gumayusi gets back up again just to watch his Nexus be destroyed. And the series is evened out, and it's a best of 3 from here.
All tied up, back and forth, just how you'd want it at the MSI finals. Who's got the edge, Desk?
It's hard to tell, honestly, after this second game here, because a completely different look on the side of HLE, a completely different look on the side of the jungler of HLE as well, but we're going to come back to that a bit later. BLG